Welcome. This is Craig Lane with Health Alchemy, and we're going to introduce you to some of my friends. And so, quick little blurb. Many years ago, there was an herbalist that I was studying out in the East Coast in Vermont at a big herbal convention. I think it was 1995. And, we're in 2025, so it's 30 years ago. And this woman very matter-of-factly said, "Oh, we're going to work with the green people today." And I said to myself, "What'd you just say?" She goes, "The green people." And I said, "What?" I'd already had an experience on mushrooms where a plant, I got so curious about this plant when one of the first few times I did mushrooms, I was walking along the coast here in Santa Cruz, and I come to this plant and I'm like, "Oh, you're kind of cute." And I felt this affinity with it, so I got real curious about it. And then all I can say is the plant rushed into what I call me. And then I disappeared for a while, and I got to trade places with this plant and understood its way of living and being, if you will. It's not a human understanding by any stretch of the imagination. We have to sort of step out of our mind or let the thing that's already doing that's part of ourselves as a more real, higher part, you might say, but even that's not correct, to help us here. So hearing this green people thing was like, wow. And check it out. Plant blood from, we'll introduce my first friend here. This is catnip. Catnip. And so notice the plant's green and our blood's red. So plant blood and human blood is identical, folks. That's right. Chlorophyll and hemoglobin are identical. So plants are green people if you just look at that one parameter in a sense. But they're upside down people. And we'll talk about that in other videos. Aren't you excited to understand how plants and humans are related and different? Well, plant blood and human blood's the same thing. You can look it up even on Google. Chlorophyll and hemoglobin are almost identical, except magnesium's at the center of plant blood and iron's at the center of human blood. And that's a whole esoteric conversation of why that's so. But this is our first friend, catnip. And just notice the form there. There's another one. This is called agrimony. And it's in the rose family. Catnip is in the mint family. Notice the shape of the leaf. Notice they're both nerve tonics. And notice the shapes of the leaves here. Kind of jagged on the edges, right? Like a saw. Again, sound effects not included. One of my little aphorisms. So there's agrimony. Okay, here's another jagged leaf, and it also has nervine properties. This is celery that I grew. And check it out. It's got jagged leaves also. Kind of interesting. You can just see the beginnings of the flower head there. And notice this agrimony flower. It looks like a pineal gland. A lot of flowers look like pineal glands. And you see this all over the world, too. That's celery. This is a poppy called Greater Celandine. Again, notice the yellow flower, the shape of the leaves. This is a bile detergent. It dissolves sludge in the bile. It makes the bile more thin and circulating better. Celandine. This is arugula flower. Notice it's a crucifer, so the flower has 4 petals. Cruciferous vegetable. Notice the shape. Don't try and do too much with your mind. Just notice the shape. It's another plant family that's related to borage. This is comfrey. Notice. Again, just notice what it looks like. And it's kind of got hairy leaves. So that's a whole nother. Do you know that plant form or morphology also is related to the plant personality? Just like human form also shows off human personality. Here's yarrow. Sort of like a daisy, right? It's got a lot of little flowers in a cluster. And it's white, so notice the color white means something too. And lastly, in our plant form, this is gynostemma. And notice it's got 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's a whole saying about plants that have 5, like the rose family, this agrimony also. They help humans serve, and they serve humans. So see, 5-petaled agrimony, that's in the rose family, and then 5-handed gynostemma. Gynostemma. It's a tonic here. And notice this, the differences and the similarities in plants. And so this is Craig Lane with Health Alchemy, and we're hoping that you really get that plants and humans are here to help each other. But I was just talking to a client the other day about allopathy, or modern medicine is alternative medicine. That's right. What we call alternative medicine or holistic medicine has been around for a lot longer than allopathy. And allopathy, in part, or modern medicine, is a lie. And it's a lie because it's not using the patterns in nature that allow us to live in a thriving, high vibrational state. And even vibration can be measured, but not in ways that we originally thought. So we need to look at, like, what are the markers of high vibration? What are the markers or byproducts again? And plants, if we use plants skillfully, then we end up with side effects or byproducts that can help us out in the long run. Again, this is Craig Lane with Health Alchemy. Hoping you've enjoyed our little series here on nature's laws, laws of consciousness, laws of emotions, laws of the body, laws of diet. They're not really laws, but nevertheless, there are sort of rules of engagement, how to surf life well. Learn them with us.